Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles, my elder bishops, of Great Millstone, who were well in teaching us the truth, 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the men out there on the highways and byways pushing the truth throughout the four corners of the earth. And also, I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Aqua who are listening and studying to show ourselves approved. This is Brother Bayan from the Tulsa, Oklahoma Hebrew Israelite Camp, coming back to you with another quick lesson. And this is pretty much a quick response to my Bahayar Awar, who just did a lesson on America, aka Babylon the Great's allies. Okay, one of the allies, which is basically Japan, who Donald Trump just met with and was trying to get them to help out with the war with Iran. Okay, so, and that is a sign that America is getting ready to be, again, about to be destroyed, man. And that's the prophecy. Okay, so, and here's the reason why, is because, it's a precept where it said we're going to give, Yahweh Shah said we're going to give them over into the hands of a cruel Lord, loosely paraphrasing, right? And this is that cruel Lord, which is Donald Trump, aka Nero, okay? So let's play a portion of my Bahayar's lesson real quick. Let's go back to the beginning where he played the news clip where Donald Trump met up with the Prime Minister of Japan. Okay, and you're going to see the stupid stuff that he said. And it was very prideful. That is a prideful statement that he said, you know. As a matter of fact, there's a scripture where it said, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay, the most prideful nation in the world right now is America, aka Babylon the Great. Okay, so without further ado, let's play this and go back just a little bit. I know it's somewhere around there. Bear with me for a minute.
X-Factor. If they could secure dumb, that was a very dumb thing to say what he just did.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, all right, Salaki, hold on. Let's go play the clip.
White House. Iran continuing to strike energy facilities overnight, creating more pressure on, of course, the already rising gas and oil prices.
And with the war in the Middle East, I want to hear this old fool.
This morning, 3 weeks into President Trump's war with Iran, the Pentagon now preparing to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion to fund the fight. And Secretary Hegseth says they might need even more.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys.
The president has said this is just an excursion, that the war will end soon. Reporters then asking him why he needs so much more money. Mr. President, if the war is almost over, why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world.
Trump also implying the money will help build up the military.
So we want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy top.
The president says he has no plans right now to put U.S. boots on the ground, but he's leaving wiggle room.
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you, but I'm not putting troops.
It's not clear what exactly the $200 billion would be used for, or how long it would fund this fight. The Pentagon says that just the first week of this war cost over $11 billion, more than $1 billion a day. The new massive $200 billion request is roughly a quarter the cost of the Iraq War, which by one estimate totaled $815 billion over 13 years. On Capitol Hill, members of both parties surprised by the huge request.
It needs to not only be presented, the amount, but the rationale behind it.
The president launched this war without seeking congressional approval. Now lawmakers are demanding details before they agree to sign off.
Alright, and so that right there is to let you know one of the reasons why America is about to be betrayed by its allies is because they're making decisions, you know, and they're arrogant, okay? So, again, let's go ahead and get another quick, the same precept I've been bringing this out quite often in a couple of lessons that I did, man. Jeremiah 51 and 9 again, okay? Because, you know, because if Donald Trump would have been able to negotiate and go along with his ally, then things probably would have been a lot better. But you know, but America as a whole is they on the brink of destruction because they don't want to get right. You know, they don't want to follow protocol. They don't want to do things in an orderly fashion, right? Jeremiah 51 and 9, it says, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let her go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven, and it is lifted up even to the skies." So now everybody is despising this place called America, aka Babylon the Great, man. Okay, so let's continue.
The president didn't consult American allies before going to war either. On Thursday, as Trump welcomed Japan's prime minister to the Oval Office, a Japanese reporter asking why Japan wasn't given a heads up.
Why didn't you tell his eyes in the European nation like he did about the war before taking you out? So we're confused about it. Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Do you believe in surprise? I think much more so.
Okay, y'all, Shrub, did y'all peep the Japanese Prime Minister when that fool said that? Did you see that? Did y'all see that? I'm going to go back and play it again. Peep when he said that was dumb. That was a very dumb thing to say what he just did. That was offensive. So, Japan is an ally of Babylon the Great. But the thing is, for how long? But Japan didn't forget that Babylon the Great dropped atomic bombs on them. And then you just went to war. You just basically put their whole economy in jeopardy, thinking you can win this war real quick, and then found out you bit off more than you could chew. And then they have a press conference, and he asked a real good question. You heard what Trump just said. That was dumb. And did you see the Prime Minister? Let's go back. Check her face when she looked at the spot when he said that. They said Japan can jump. Japan is an X factor. If they could secure their resources with either China, Russia, whoever, I see them to jump ship with somebody else. I think Babylon Great about to lose all their allies. I really do. It's based on the decorum of how they carry themselves. And look at your leader, man.
And that was beautiful that by how y'all brought that up, because that's the prophecy. Okay, that is the prophecy, right? So we're gonna go ahead and go into the scriptures based on that prophecy real quick. So we're gonna continue, let him cook some more, and then we go get us the precept. Matter of fact, he also put another TikTok video right after this meeting. Put a TikTok video that just popped up. You know, we're gonna play that as well too.
That was dumb. That's a very dumb thing to say. But watch your face when he said that. Like, he looking like, y'all catching this? Y'all catching this? He probably about talking to Russia, China. Like, we be dumping Babylon the Great. So let's go back. Watch this fool.
Why did he? Very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Why did you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
And yeah, that was like that body language she just showed. You can tell there was a lot of irritation in her body language. The way she just took a deep breath, that, like, you usually when somebody does that, it's like I'm about to slap the shit out of her. You know what I mean? That's how she had. That's the body language she showed right after he made that statement, man.
Do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us.
The president certainly seeming to shock the Japanese prime minister there. Now, as for this staggering $200 billion request, it has yet to be formally presented to Congress, but is sure to face resistance when it is. Lawmakers want answers before they write that check. Rebecca?
Yes, they want those answers. All right, Mary, thank you.
Now check it out, Yasser Allah. I'm hearing that certain Republicans are not going to vote to give him that $200 billion. Now, you know Donald Trump is like a mob boss, so expect him to do some bullying tactics, and he'll probably get it like that. But right now, they talking there like, man, I'm dumb to do. This dude is losing so much support.
Yep, and that's the beautiful thing that Ock just brought that up. He said expect him to do some bullying tactics, and that's another prophecy. Let's get it. Well, I mean, we've been bringing these precepts out over and over again. We sound like a broken record, but now you seeing, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is proving us right. You know, the prophets out on the highways and hedges, he's proving us right. So this is Revelation chapter 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heaven, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. All right, and that's what, when I brought up that, you know, that bullying tactic, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna come down having great wrath, man. All right, and so let's get this other TikTok video real quick. Bear with me. All right, so this is another video that just popped up right after the meeting when Donald Trump, aka Nero, met with the Prime Minister of Japan. All right, this is what my Akbar y'all just shared in the group chat. All right, and so, you know, here we go.
This is huge breaking news coming in. Japan is now openly buying Russian oil using the Chinese yuan right through the Strait of Hormuz. At the same time, the Trump administration reportedly pushed Japan's leadership, including Sanai Takaichi, to sign a joint statement on Hormuz and help them. Japan's response is a straight-up no, a firm and public refusal to send ships, deploy troops, or get dragged into any Middle East war. With 82% of the Japanese public opposing a U.S.-Iran conflict, Japan is choosing its own path, economic interests over political pressure. This isn't just a refusal, it's a signal. Even key allies are stepping back from America's war narrative. Make sure to follow for latest updates. This is huge.
Alright, and so you see it, okay? America is losing its allies, just like how y'all just said. America is losing their allies, okay? America, aka Babylon the Great, is losing their allies, man. And so that is a prophecy that has been fulfilled, which is in the book of Obadiah, verse 7. Okay, and it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, that they eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay, and notice how it said, the man of thy confederacy, which it goes into the allies of Esau, Edom, and so-called white man, and we can go and read about the allies in the book of Psalms, chapter 83. And these are the same allies who are confederate against the nation of Israel. All right, when the nation of Israel are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American. They have joined together just to keep us in subjection, to keep us from thriving into that wicked society. Okay, so, you know, let's get Psalms 83. And the point will be in verse 5 and 6, okay, which goes into all of the allies that we just got to listening to in the clip, okay. But let's start at Psalm chapter 83 and verse 2, and it says, for lo, matter of fact, we start at the top. All right, Psalm 83 and 1, it says, keep not thou silent, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. And it's a prayer from King David, okay, with Salakia Asaph, okay. And it says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who's the hidden ones? The Esau, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, Esau, Edom, have consulted against thy people. All right. And it said, they have said, come and let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. They gave us words. They call us by proverbs and bywords. By they call us African American. They call us Puerto Rican. You know, Indian savages. Okay, so on and so forth. All right. That's why they said let us cut them off for being a nation. Okay, so instead of us calling us by our true biblical nationality, they gave us other names that they called us by, right? Black American, niggas, spits, right? So that's how they would cut us off, so that the name of Israel be no more remembered. Okay, in verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. This is it. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, okay? El Moab and the Hagarenes. All right, when you read on down, these are all the allies of America, aka Babylon the Great. And now they get ready to turn against America. Okay, going back into what we just got to read in the Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 7. It said, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. There is none understanding in Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay? Let's get Lamentations 1 and 2. And it says, we'll start at the top. Lamentation 1 and 1. It said, how doeth the city sit solitary that were full of people? How is she become a widow? She that was great among the nation and princesses among the province, how is she become tributary? All right, and this is ultimately talking about, the nation of Israel, but the same thing can apply to America, aka Babylon the Great, in this case. Okay. But this scripture is going into the destruction of the Israelites, all right? In verse 2, and it says, she wept sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheek. Among all her lovers she have none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. And that is exactly what's going to happen to America, aka Babylon the Great, all right? And so, again, this very chapter is talking about the destruction of America, aka Babylon, the Israelite, but that same curses that was on the Israelite is going to be placed on the very enemy that put us in subjection, that was, confederate or consulted against the hidden one. Okay? That's another scripture that speaks about that. All of the curses shall be put upon thy enemies. All right? All right, so there's that. And let's get Jeremiah chapter 49. And verse 9 will pretty much be the point. Well, 10 will be the point where we start at verse 9. Okay? And it says, well, it's like we'll start at verse 7. Jeremiah 49 and 7, it said, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Okay, and that is going back into what Donald Trump, as the scripture said, is wisdom no more than Teman? Is the counsel perished from the prudent? And we saw what Donald Trump did. He made this dumb-ass statement, and now he's looking like a fool. Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dandan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. So the Lord is visiting Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's visiting America. Verse 9, if grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grape? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. Verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Right? And that goes back from the chief tribe, which are your small hat. Okay? So they've been exposed on a higher level, all the way down to your lower level Edomite. Okay? Isaiah chapter 13. You know, this is going to be a quick lesson, just a quick hitter, just hitting them precepts, right? Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 17. And it said, Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Who is the Mede? Those are your Russians, okay? They were once confederate with America, aka Babylon the Great, and now they're being stirred up against them. Satan against Satan. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Okay? They disregarded America's dollars. Okay? They now they have what you call the BRICS, the dollars, right? The BRICS nation. Okay? They're getting rid of the petrodollar. Okay? That's why it says this. They which now, I'm going to read it again, verse 17 again from the top, Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right? And in modern day era, they are not delighting in the petrodollar, which America holds dear. Verse 18. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruits of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdom, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency shall be as when Yahweh overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, and so Yahweh about to use the other Edomite territory, which are your Russian, to throw down America, aka Babylon the Great. Okay? Let's get the book of Daniel. Chapter 11. Let's start at verse 25. Well, we're at the point in 25, and again, this is another let's go ahead and read Daniel chapter 11 and verse 24, and he said, He shall enter peaceably upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his father's father. He shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches. Yea, he shall forecast his device against the stronghold, even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the kings of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. They feed they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. Okay, and that is talking about the armies of America, man. They're going to be fall down and slain. Okay? And see, there's another report where he's talking about how the only way, because my Agri brought it up in his lesson, and he mentioned that the only way Congress is going to lend America, aka Babylon the Great, $2 billion is as long as they negotiate and they have to be a ceasefire. But we know that's not going to work. And so that's pretty much Esau Edom's own tactic being used against him, okay? Because Esau Edom have this great tactic what he used, and we're seeing it right before our eyes that his own tactics are being used against him. One of his tactics is Psalm 55 and 21. Let's get that real quick. Okay? Because his own allies are using his tactic, right? Psalm 55 and 21, it said, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Okay? So that's how they're smoother than butter. Oh yeah, we'll lend you that $2 billion as long as you agree to this ceasefire. Okay? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So cause they're gonna lead these little tactics that we're seeing is about to lead America into a trap, man. Okay? So we get a couple of more precepts and we'll close this out. Right? Yeah, I got 2 more precepts. We'll go ahead and close this out, man. This is get the 2 in Revelation chapter 17. And verse 6, okay? No, not 6, Salakia, verse 16, Salakia. And it says, Revelation 17 and 16, it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Okay, the 10 horns represent NATO and the EU. Okay, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And this is after all of these, allies is going to turn against America, aka Babylon the Great. Okay? And that whore is pretty much America. And it said the beast shall hate the whore, which is talking about the allies that are of America. Okay? Everybody that was Confederate with America is going to turn against America, aka Babylon the Great, man. Okay? And so, last and not least, we'll end it off right here with Revelation chapter 18. And we'll start at verse 3. Okay? And it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sin, and that ye receive not of her plague. For her sins reach unto heaven, and Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua have remembered her iniquity. Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her work, and the cup which ye have filled to her double. Okay? And see, in verse 7, we're in right here. And it says, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. And once upon a time, America was one called tender and delicate, right? How much has she glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, shall see no sorrow. Okay, that's that pride that America have been living for so many years, man. And now America, aka Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed due to this up and coming news, man. So, that was just a quick line back off of my aunt who just did a lesson. All right, Lord willing, this is edifying. With that, I'm gonna give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the elder apostle and the elder bishop of Great Millstone who are well and teaching us the truth 100% securely. Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.